Hey, greetings. Excuse me as I walk off camera. We are doing that bottom cohort there, the Woods Girl, Pilgrim, Magician, and Witch King. So very interesting. A lot of magic. Uh, like last time, I think the Witch King is interesting and difficult sometimes to pull off. The Magician also interesting, difficult to pull off. The Pilgrim is sort of straightforward, and the Woods Girl is excuse me. Sorry. 38 seconds in. Boy. The best ambush archer in the game. So I do expect her to actually be doing pretty well in terms of, say, prowess. Um, so we'll see how that goes. So we have started setup. I'm probably just going to do setup right now. See how I feel. You'll see the map here, and the map has a lot of action right around this sort of eastern section right here, which is sort of cool. I don't think anybody starts at the guardhouse for this turn. So you're going to see characters right around here. So they are going to converge in the ruins. I mean, pretty much they're going to converge in the ruins. And I'll tell you why. Because even like here, to get to the high pass and go to the mountain, you've got to get to the borderland. So, and that will be the magician will be down here. And maybe the Witch King. Where are the ghosts? The ghosts are here. So the Witch King is interesting because he, of all the characters, could start up here and make a straight shot to, say, the Deep Woods. Um, the Deep Woods, the Ledges. So it's a weird map. I don't know. I don't know if I'll regret picking it. I picked it and I said, "Ooh, all the valleys are in a neat position, but the map is sort of odd because you do have sort of weird lanes, right? Everyone descends on the ruins, and that's fine. So the ruins is sort of one lane. But getting to the mountain requires the high pass, and the high pass you have to go through the borderlands or the cliff. The inn has quick access to the borderlands and the cliff and the ledges. So I do think that the magician starting here, maybe the woods girl starts here, as opposed to the soldiers, which is our other option. The Witch King could start here, could start up here in the ghost to get the quick access to the deep wood. Anybody that has anything with mountain, you've got to go through the high pass, and that is odd. Probably not great. Certainly interesting. Certainly interesting. I almost wish there was a link here somehow, but I don't see how you would have one. There's nothing you can rip out of this map. You could take this out and put it in here, but then it wouldn't line up here. So I think, excuse me, I think we're about where we're at with this map. We're gonna live with it. I think it's potentially interesting. It's a little weird. I am picking spells now, so let me pick Woods Girl. Woods Girl has one type 7 that she can cast, once or twice. So not the best for sure. Let's see what she gets access to here. Obviously she could take an any is great. Control bats I often take just because it's super danger. Avoid danger might be interesting, and I'll tell you why it would be sort of interesting. Is that we roll 2 dice every 7th day. And so that makes day 7s really dangerous to be out and about because you just have that much more opportunity to get jumped by a monster. Now, you might be looking for, say, a dragons or goblins to fulfill a card, in which case it's great to get you that extra chance. But if you're looking to just loot, then you might be out of luck a little bit. This could be sort of interesting. Oh, so yeah. So what sucks about it though is she can cast and it goes the next day, so it doesn't actually help her much. That's too bad. That's one where you wish there was a way to retro that a little bit for her. So yeah, so I mean she can cast it every 7 days and get one free day on day, 8, 15, 22, etc. But it's not as useful as first glance. I think I made that mistake 2 or 3 times mentally. Um Control bats is always good because bats are the one of the things that thwarts the woods girl often. And then she can usually find a place and then use them to fly. The problem, though, otherwise is not a lot of any's. Wisp Warrior, I mean, it's a summons that has the advantages for her. So you could use it, like I said, every 7th day. It gives her a 1-speed creature, super fast, so she can't attack. It just flits around and dodges attacks. She could use it to take something off her sheet, except she probably can't, because if you notice her time here on her chit is a 6. So she's terrible at casting this thing. If she has, excuse me, hissing in the background, I suppose it's between avoid danger and control bats. We need 1 or 2 more any's in here for her. If you think of any, fire away. I'm gonna take control bats. It's a standard. It's a standard for the Woods Girl, and it does offer her some opportunities, right? In the sense that there's going to be a day or two where, oh, you see bats. There's bats on the field. You can use them to fly. That's really the reason why that wins over, say, any other spell at the moment is the ability to occasionally get a fly out of it. Is pretty useful. So we're going to do control bats, and that's her choice. Now we have our Pilgrim. Pilgrim gets type 1s or type 7s. Type 1s are over here. I'll pull out another type 7 deck. He could take control bats. I don't know that he will, but he could take it. Is there anything? Now, the one thing that he has that the Woods Girl doesn't have is he can enchant a tile. So he can actually use any color that he can get the tile color for. So, for instance, he can use Veil Walker if he wants, because he can enchant the valleys. Staff to Snake is effectively a summon. Medium heavy. It does do tremendous damage against unarmored creatures. It's a great giant killer, the snake. It's yes, decent. Not a great spider killer. Giant killer for sure. Spider killer a little bit, since spiders are a little fast for it. Oops. Nothing's great killing the damn pool. Can't touch it. Can't touch any of the dragons. So kills ogres. It's not the worst spell, but it's not the best spell either. Um, Obviously, you could avoid danger, and that is interesting because effectively what you would do is you would keep all your white magic turned over, and you cast avoid danger, and then you can sort of just save yourself. Now, I usually go with small blessing, right? Usually go for Pilgrim punchy guy, right? He gets tremendous damage, goes and kills stuff. And he is not bad at killing stuff. I mean, you look at his fight times, his move times are terrible. His fight times are great. He is a great goblin killer. He's a great almost anything killer with the right weapons. He can't generate a lot of damage though, because of the fact that he's carrying a staff. Um, the tremendous the small blessing I wish for strength takes care of that for him. But there's still a lot of fights that he is just going to fall short on. Now, again, against something like dragons, giants, etc., he is flipping awesome because this fight M3 will undercut them all. This move M4 will keep him safe. So, and his length 9 head, I think, equals the length of the dragon heads and the clubs. So I think he has that going for him also. So he's a great, tremendous killer with small blessing. But that takes a lot to set up and a lot of effort. Um, Avoid danger is interesting. It's very passive. He would have to then hire to get his damage on. Control bats isn't terrible for him. I don't know that useful, but it's not terrible. And of course, he could go for like a mobility option, like Veil Walker. So I think it's small blessing. So the ones I would actually consider for him is small blessing. I would consider vision for him. Uh, I would vaguely consider Veil Walker. I would consider Staff to Snake. I'm not sure it's a great spell for him, but I would consider it. So these are pretty much, I would argue, the 5 spells I would consider for the Pilgrim. This is sort of the traditional choice, small blessing. I don't know that this is more reliable since you have to roll a 30% chance to get this, but this won't kill anything armored. These are very pacifist, right? These 3 are then pacifist options. He is essentially saying, I am not going to fight anything until I can get a hireling, which would be order 3, pretty much, is the typical hireling. So if you look at the map, the pilgrim's probably going to start here. The other thing, he could start at the inn, and he could walk to the chapel to do his hiring and see what's in the borderlands first and see what's in the ruins before you get to actually hiring one. So you could and you could see the high pass if you wanted to by dipping into the high pass in the cave. So that's the other option too. He could sort of slow play it, and vision would be great in terms of, say, a navigator quest. It would be great in getting him quickly. He could just walk in here, cast, boom, he's found this. So that is not a bad spell. It's just whether or not it's worth giving up that initial tremendous right power attack. On the other hand, what you would be able to do is you'd be able to not spend your first couple days here, because usually that's what you do. You spend your first couple days here. Instead, you would spend your first couple days out and about, being very cautious. You'd have to hide a lot, and then you would see the lay of the land. You'd see what's going on. Then you get here, and then you try to make your move. Maybe you get to loot something. The danger to that always is that you take too long to do all this, and then by the time you get here, you're 3 weeks in, and I don't want that. So, with $10, he's allied. He needs a 2 or 1 to get price times 1 on his boy there, his buddies there. I think let's go whack. Let's take vision. I don't know if that's a good idea. I don't know at all. But we're gonna take vision. Get rid of the rest of these, and we've picked the Pilgrim spell. So it's just I don't know what you want to say, right? It's a little bit of a different choice. Usually we take the standard small blessing choice. I'm going to take vision. I'm going to use it to my hopefully advantage here to get moving. The magician. Holy crap. He's why this is going to take a half an hour. So he does get all the types of spells, but we're really going to focus on type 6s, 7s, and 8s because we can't generate the color to cast the rest of them. Although you can, anything that and there's a lot more spells that don't dip. Oops, don't double dip. So, for instance, you can take Flame Sword. I don't think there's any type 3 spells that cross the boundaries. There's no type 4s. Type 5s, all black. So it really comes down to type 2s, 6, 7s. So let's look at the type 2s. And what you're looking for are these wacky ones, right? Flip, flip. Looking for these ones. Now, this isn't terrible. This is a lot like the Druid. You could become a Flaming Sword Magician with the caveat that you cannot do with it what the Wizard does. The Wizard has an M chit, which is fast. No one else has, none of these other guys that cast this spell have an M chit. So he would be casting and doing only heavy damage. Heavy unarmored damage. So that's great. That kills him some spiders, which he couldn't otherwise kill. It gets him some. He could kill a bat. I mean, if he's fighting bats, that's problematic. But he's not hitting, say, a tremendous guy. So I usually write these off. And I am going to do that right now. I'm going to write those off for now. We're not going to take any of those. We're going to look at type 6s. And what you would use for type 6 would be something akin to Transform's always a good one, by the way. Dissolve spell, just because you might need to dissolve a spell. Mountain Lore isn't bad, frankly, but it's very much mobility, right? If we're looking for combat options, Transform is your type 6 spell, in my opinion. You could take Melt into Mist, of course, and you could play the Wizard game. Or not the Wizard game, the Sorcerer game. Except you're not fiery blasting anyone. You are just melting into mist. I think otherwise, Enlarge is interesting because you could take someone. So if you think about what enlarge would do for us, it would take someone like this guy and turn him into an H4 star. Um, and that would kill him some tremendous guys. Now, the problem is that's probably not as good as, say, just plain old poison. And poison just adds a sharpness star. It doesn't slow your times. So this is probably better than this for the magician. Nudge is great. We have hop and it's nudge. That's not great. Is that hop? I don't. Yeah, I'm not sure what hop. Oh, so that's a. There you go. There's a mistake. Oh, there. Okay. Weird. Teleport to a random clearing in the same tile. So it's gold. Also not terrible. So I do have a weird bug going on. If you'll notice, my tabletop simulator is acting weird. Because I have guide spider or octopus. Also a great spell, by the way. But these are off by one here at some point. So something is definitely wrong. Let me close that and reopen it, maybe. Nope, still off by one. That really bums me out. That bothers me a great deal. Is that every one of this deck? Is that this deck is messed up somehow? No, doesn't seem so. Let's take poison. This must be my tabletop sim. Remedy is obviously great. I would take that instead of dissolve spell. So dissolve spell goes away. Man, I love the idea of duel. It just never comes up, so I drop it. Guide spider octopus still always strangely useful. You don't think it will be, but it somehow is. I think those are the big four here. I would definitely take. I mean, so poison is great because what poison does is it turns those first couple swordsmen into H star threes. That's why it's better than enlarge. So I would drop enlarge. Enlarge is not useful. H star threes kill tremendous stuff. So those are giant killers, spider killers. So right there, and we're talking tremendous giants and spiders. So it is really good. So better than flame sword but you only get, I mean, one guy. You're going to cast this on one dude. So so super useful. I mean, I don't think avoid danger is bad. He has a lot of color for it too, so that's sort of useful. Veil Walker, useful for him. Peace with Nature. It is sort of the halfway version of Melt into Mist, right? You could take Melt into Mist and be perfectly avoiding monsters, and then you do run the danger that the other spellcasters turn over all the purple hexes and screw you over. Wisp Guide is good. It's a totally mobility. Control bats is always good because bats always suck for almost every character in the game. Same reason why Guide Spider Octopus is good because Guide Spider Octopus means if I find the pool, I can go straight to it and just have this ready. And when the guy shows up, I send him away and I keep looting the pool. So it makes the pool and the cairn yours effectively. So I could see. Oh, and the other one which I do like, and I don't know where it is. Is it in here? No. Six, maybe? Maybe it's six. Magic Arrow. Magic Arrow is not terrible for the magician. It's gold. It's M star star. So it is effectively a medium bow attack against one target. Now you only get one shot. So you are able to do tremendous damage. But you only get one shot. It's not a bad shot, but you only get one. So the strategies are transform and nudge are great. Transform is good because it takes anyone else, any one thing, any one bad guy. And I could definitely see something like a definitely see so you could take poison to get your tremendous. That would be one way. You could take transform to get your tremendous kills. That's another way. You could take magic arrow as a way to get tremendous kills. You could take control bats, guide spider, or octopus and be safe from, a whole host of spots. I like them all. That's the problem. Is I like all the ideas. Is there anything else I can see? Uh Remedy is useful, of course, for getting spells. I'm sorry. Sorry, I'm staring at this taking so long. This is the big one, though. This is rough. The magician always. This is a big deal for the magician. I mean, if you got a couple guys, what can our type 7 be then? Do we have any other type 7 choices? Not really. So if I were to take something like poison, you're not fighting tremendous armored creatures, but you can kill all the tremendous. And so that's your type 8, let's say. Not that he can't double up, but I like spreading them out. Then at that point, maybe Veil Walker might be a huge deal on in this map because of the way the valleys are placed. Right? So if you can get like this valley is great and you're right here and you got all this stuff, but to get to the high pass, you could either go down and then this way and then go to the high pass and go to the mountain, or you can go to the ruins all the way through here and then Veil walk to here and then you're in the mountain. So it might behoove him, or you could Veil walk to get to the deep woods. So maybe he take. I think Veil Walker for this one is a good choice. So let's say he takes Veil Walker. That's one. Then maybe transform and maybe nudge as sort of my combat cohort. Let's go with those three. So not super radical for the magician, right? He is taking transform, Veil Walker for mobility with this map, and nudge. The goal would be to have a nudge shit on at all times. This also gives you a use for your gold and black, which you otherwise don't have. So okay, so I think we've got those spells for our guy, and now we have the last guy. Also hard, by the way, and he is 4, 5, and 6. The Witch King. So I think the Witch King. The Witch King also has a couple options. And his options are similar to the sorcerers. For instance, he could be a fiery blast, melt into mist monster. I think you could take lightning bolt, but you have better options for multiple creatures. You could take summon. I still think you have, honestly, and I need to change these cards, by the way. I think you have better options. And some of those better options are, I mean, obviously you can do an absorb, you can do an ancient pact. I wouldn't do an ancient pact. I mean, summons are great, but I don't know that I'd do an ancient pact. I would do drain life. If I'm going to do a summon, it's going to be summon elemental. I'm not going to do ancient pact. Um, I do like hypnotize in a weird way. Only if you'd go into like the order or something, and you would pacify this guy and walk out with him for the few days. Broomstick is a great spell because it gets you to where you need to go. Animate, great spell. Those are the four that I would generally start with. And then your type 6, again, it depends a lot on what else you're doing, but Melt into Mist is huge. In his case, Dissolve Spell is huge. Transform, huge. Huge. I like Mountain Lore. Pretty much every character, Mountain Lore would be one I'd put on the list. Whether I take it or not, different story, but I would put it on the list. Um, those are the ones I would consider. So the question is, what's your play, right? So if you're playing Absorb, um, I think Broomstick is a great option to take because you want to fly to the place where you're going to go. I think Drain Life is one of the best options for the Witch King. It's pretty obvious choice for the Witch King because you are auto killing so many things. Like there's almost nothing on the board you cannot auto kill with Drain Life. In fact, I don't think there is anything you can't auto kill with Drain Life. So it makes you a monster, truly, as far as, but then there's always that question of, um,
keeping yourself sort of in black magic. You only have 4 black chits. If 2 of them are flipped and 2 of them are casting, that becomes hard to sustain. Strangely enough, I've seen the Witch King do great stuff, but then just have a hard time sort of sustaining. The nice thing about the Type 6 spells is that you're using your Type 4s, so you're not burning 2 of the same type of chits. And you have 4 Type 6. That's the one thing about the Witch King I think is a huge flaw, is you got 4 of these damn things. 4 of these Type 6s. Where are they? Let me bitch. Here they are. You got 4 Type 6s. Yeah. That's a pain in the butt. So you could do a Melt into Mist, Fiery Blast. You could do something akin to, and that would give you big hits, right? So the wide targets, you're hitting all the goblins, for instance, killing goblins like that. And then you could Melt in a Mist just like the sorcerer does. You don't quite have the same number of chits that the sorcerer has to play that game, but and Melt in a Mist will at least allow you to carry shit. So I do think that is valuable for the Witch King. You can do something similar with Broomstick, but you can only carry light stuff as opposed to. So let's say we take Melt in the Mist, and let's say we take Fiery Blast, if those are 2. I think the other question then is, do you do something like Drain Life for the one-offs? Right? So you're just zapping, zapping the big things with Drain Life. And then I have Animate. It does say when energized, the creature will appear to fight with you. I have waived that requirement before. I don't know that it's necessarily a bad thing to waive or keep. That's a decision to be made. What are we doing today? The last round we sort of just waived it, and the creature was animated. You were tying a chit up, and so we'll do that today. You will not. You don't need to energize that. Um, it is permanent. That monster now follows you around. Done. So you could do animate. Now you can get some crazy stuff with that, of course, especially if you're melting into mist. Yeah, let's do it. So we're gonna pick animate just in case, and so these will all go away, and these are the 4 that we're gonna take for the Sorcerer Supreme Witch King here. I usually don't take Fiery Blast on Witch King. Not that I don't think it's useful, but as often as not, I'm just trying to. I think this is pretty good in that, well, I mean, you're not. The problem is you're not using your Type 6s. So you're going to have all these Type 6s, and they're sort of useless. What we're going to do is we're going to turn these 2 over, and we're going to turn these 2 over. And we're going to use 1 to cast Fiery Blast. We're going to turn 3 of them over, and then rest 1 soon after. Or Melt into Mist. We're going to use 1 to cast Melt into Mist instantly. So I think we have spells picked, and I think we are ready to go. We do need some cards. What do we need? We need the Giant Event deck, and we need the Quest deck.
That event deck is a little big. I think I'm going to shrink it down the tiniest bit. And the quest deck, they're going to make that big. All right, so there we go. And now we're going to deal quests out to everybody. So let me shuffle. And we're going to deal. So we're going to deal. So this is Woods Girl. So we're going to make 4 piles here. Like that. So the Woods Girl is going to get these ones, and she'll flip. So let's see what she has. She ends up with Guide, Arsonist, and Pub Crawl. And yet, Arsonist is smaller than the other ones. Why is Arsonist smaller than the other cards? That sort of drives me nuts. Now it's bigger than the other cards. Okay, yeah, you know what? I can't tell from the top. It is what it is. I don't know why I decided to make those narrower, that Arsonist card. The images that I used were all the same size for these cards. I know that's hard to believe, but it was. Darn it. And now they're not. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't like Pub Crawl. Now, Pub Crawl is not bad for this map. These things are close together. She could easily bop to these 3 sort of instantaneously. You could quickly get all 3 of those. And if you made it your goal, you could get to the 4th one. Is that worth doing? It's 2 points. It's not a ton of points. I mean, it is. It's 2 points. But, you know, if she starts here, you are taking probably what? 2 days to get to the chapel, 2 days to get to here. So that's probably 4 days of your time, plus the time, let's say 5 days to find this guy, right? 1 extra day to find that guy. So that's 5 days where you run back and forth to there. And then you would have to spend 1 day, 2 days, 3 days getting. So I would argue that it's at the very fastest a week to get through all of these. Now for Arson, she is unfriendly to the soldier, so she could do Petty Revenge and get a VP at the start with Arson. And maybe then do Pub Crawl and just run Pub Crawl as fast as possible. She has Guide. So if you look at, so that actually finds her this thing really quick. So she could go, bam, find this in a day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, kind of, and quickly have this done. And like I said, it's still probably a week to get to the final thing there. So God, I am tempted to keep it. I am tempted to keep it. We're going to keep Guide, and we're going to keep Arson for sure. It is just a long haul to get that Pub Crawl, and is it worth eating a card for? Sure. All right, we're saving them. So those are her first 3. She is not going to drop them. The Pilgrim.
Starts with a gray source, not super useful, a white source, a little more useful, and then find armor in roar. Now the Pilgrim has no problem with armor. He can wear medium for sure and heavy. And strange enough, his heavy chit is not, but medium is all you would need. Would be helpful. I'm going to dump gray source for sure. That is not that useful for us. So we're going to discard gray source right there and draw a new card. Purple source. Well, haha, yeah. Okay. Okay. I mean, I did shuffle these, right? Like I shuffled them a lot. All right. Well, we got the find armor. It's not a good start for the Pilgrim. White source, which he's going to use right off the bat if he can. Purple source. And those are his cards. He has to keep purple source because he drew it, effectively, redrew it. The Magician has the challenge, so he gets sort of a nice tiny hut and big game. So I definitely think big game, tremendous. So he's going to pull tremendous on that. The challenge, he's going to roll that. And I don't have all my bits out, so sorry about that. Quest tables go here. Or actually, I'm going to put them up here, right? Put them right there. So I do roll a d6 plus 2. Where does he think that is? 2. So that's a 4. The rogues. Random group, random dwelling. So the rogues at the campfire. I don't love that. Which campfire? I think the large, small one. We're going to put rogue at S camp. And the only question is whether we're going to keep, tiny and tiny hut. We're just going to place that first thing. Woods. So I suppose that's fine. I'm going to put the rogue at the camp. Sure, he'll keep those. And then finally the Witch King. The Witch King has Curse Breaker, Locate Vault, and Ancient Scrolls. I am going to say Curse Breaker is gone, Ancient Scroll is gone. There's no use to either of those for the Witch King. He's going to want anything with spells on it. Not going to want to give it up to one of these dirty visitors. So we're going to drag 2 of these. Go to, oops, we don't have the camera set up, my fault. Find bow and archaeological dig. Even worse for find bow. Find bow is useless for the Witch King. So, but we got to keep it because we just drew it. It's my second draw. Find bow. Dig site. I put dig site. That's in the ruins, of course, and locate vault. Not a big fan of those right now. I'm going to make a roll here. And it's ruins 1. So ruins 1
is close. And we're, and I should have shows where we started, but he's going to start here. He starts at the inn, the magician. The pilgrim will start at the chapel for certain. The woods girl is going to choose to start at the soldiers because she's going to burn them down. So we have starting positions for everybody. So there's our quests. Now we have 3 events and we're done with setup. We'll put these up top. Shuffle these. Inquisition, the cook, and the monastery. There we go. So the cook, all right, let me get my event objects out right there. And I will put the cook out. I have a monastery, and the Inquisition is 2 weeks of Inquisition. I still need a die. Did this in bad order because I did not get my dice out. Let me get that die and that die and this die. Rarely do we use the D8, but we occasionally use the D8. Make them gigantic and clunky, giant Mondo-sized dice. The monastery appears somewhere in the, and again, you notice that this card is somehow bigger than the other cards. Like, I don't understand what I've done to make these cards different sizes. I must have, maybe it was still selected with the, I don't know. It's a little too big, is it? Random clearing in the mountains. The monastery appears in 6. Mountain 6. Well, sure. And then the cook appears in 3, the house. He's an extra rest phase, so we do not ever disparage the cook. So that's our discard pile. We have 2 events going. And frankly, that's our setup. That's it. So we are ready. We're ready to start. And we will see you. We'll see you then.